You're listening to Castle Talk Radio. We're live on the airwaves with Becca and Jessica. Now let's jump into this week's episode.
We know that Disneyland is so close to home for many in California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, all those places that can get to Disneyland in just a day's drive. But my favorite way to get there is to fly. Now, I drove a lot when my kids were younger, and I thought as soon as they're old enough to drive, this is going to be amazing. Now, I have a ton of drivers, but instead, I fly. So I take that back. Becca, are you mostly a fly or drive?
So this is a hard one for me. We were hardcore road trippers for a long time. But once I started coming down a lot by myself, I got more into flying. Once my kids got old enough that they could carry their backpacks and help roll the carry-ons or like the luggage, we've kind of gotten into flying. But for us, we're 50-50 as a family, whether we fly or drive, just because I still like to do things the most cost-effective way. And living in the city I live, we don't have the best flight deals to any of the airports in the area. Sometimes we can drive all of us down for cheaper than two of us flying together. So when it becomes a big difference sometimes. And it's like when it's $1,000 to $1,500 cheaper to drive, then we definitely are driving.
Yeah, that's a big deal to decide and a big discussion, really. So we're going to cover some of the area airports and flying into Disneyland and the logistics of what that looks like. So the first thing when I fly anywhere is I like to see if there's a nonstop flight. So sometimes your airport will be determined by a nonstop option. And sometimes that might be LAX, especially if you're coming internationally. So if you're coming internationally, LAX is going to be your best bet. They're going to have lots more airlines, lots more arrival and departure times, and it's just going to have a more streamlined process. So it's a big airport. It's one of the busiest in the US, and it does get a bad reputation for that alone. But if that is your option, please don't be scared. You can do it, and we'll help you navigate all the things, getting to and from or renting a car, whatever you want to do. But there are some favorites that people will be like, no, don't fly into LAX. You've got to fly into these two. But they're also not taking into account like where you're coming from or if it's your only nonstop option. But
hold on, because you said if it's your only nonstop option, I will take a layover before I will fly into LAX. Like 100%.
When's the last time you flew into LAX? Can you even remember?
No, but I mean, for me, and this is part of it. Listen, if there's only I can usually find a 45-minute layover, and the drive from LAX down to Disneyland area is going to be an hour, sometimes even 2, depending on traffic.
Honestly,
and so for me,
I
it's
think
like
that's the worst part.
Yeah,
more than the airport itself. Yeah.
Yes. And before we also move on, one of the big things with them, let's just tell everyone, is where you can get on shuttles and things. Like most places can't pick you up at the curb. You have to go to a very specific spot, which you kind of do anyways. Yeah. Like, I mean, you kind of have to do that all airports. Like the other ones we'll discuss have a ride share pickup area, but theirs is just far, like LAX's is farther away. But Carmel shuttles can pick up at the curb because they are a private shuttle and they have contract with LAX that they can, and you can book them at a discount through our partners at Getaway Today. Just go to getawaytoday.com/castle-talk, and then you go to tickets and choose the Disneyland area, and you'll be able to find that discount. So that's my big tip. If you are flying into LAX, use Carmel.
Yes, because like she said, you're looking at if you're using a ride share or getting a rental car, you need to take a shuttle to an offsite destination. So it just adds time. A lot of things that people complain about and don't like about LAX is that it just adds time because you're farther, you're in a really congested like traffic area and those type of things. But again, it is a possibility. And you said, I want to go back to what you said about you will choose a layover over going to LAX. So that's absolutely an option, especially if your kids do better with layovers. Sometimes they need a break and you're going to get off the plane and have lunch or just get a little walking in. That is totally fine. Another huge decision with choosing where to fly, it's like, how much does it cost? Sometimes those LAX fares are just like too good to beat. And so you're like, I can fly my family for this amount as opposed to this amount. So again, if that's your option, take the option, save that money, save whatever it is that you want to save, money, time, whatever, and don't worry about it too much. But our favorite airports, for sure, what's your top pick?
Oh, my
I
top
mean, it's a
pick is one
tie.
it's pretty much a tie, and for different reasons. So my personal favorite is, as far as the airport itself, is Long Beach. It's a nice small airport,
Mm-hmm.
and um, it serves Pepsi products, which is huge for me as a Mountain Dew
Say it
drinker.
louder for our Pepsi people.
Serves Pepsi products.
Okay,
um,
Long Beach.
yes, and also the other thing that my kids love is that you actually walk out onto the tarmac to go up
Yeah.
to the plane, and my kids love that. And a lot of times when you land, they unload and load sometimes from both the front and the back. So even if you're in the back, you can get off faster. It does have a very limited number of airlines that fly there. I mean, Southwest is the big one that flies there. Delta flies there right now. It's always changing a little bit,
It is.
but it's very limited. It's a little bit farther than our other favorite one,
Mhm.
but it's still it's like only 10 minutes farther away
Yeah,
drive time.
Long Beach is super small, so fantastic. Has that indoor outdoor vibe. There's a whole
Yeah.
space that you can wait outside, and car rentals are like maybe a 5-minute walk from getting off your plane. Like they're so close. That's so easy. I
Yeah.
love that. They are redoing a lot of the areas
Mhm.
there. So they've updated like the check-in space, but the lines there are so quick. Like I'm always testing out Long Beach, like how close can I make it for my trip? I will have to say the one thing that I don't like about Long Beach does not have to do with Pepsi, but I don't like their food options there personally. Last time we flew out of Long Beach last month, I said, you know what? Let's try the restaurant because there's a sit down restaurant in the one terminal, and then the other ones are like quick service. And I've tried so many of their quick service ones and just disappointed, and the price point is not great.
Yeah.
So we did the sit down restaurant and we had fish and chips, and it was great. But let's move on to our second or tiebreaker airport, which is
Santa Ana, Orange County, also known as John Wayne, though they are trying to get away from that name a little bit. So that's our other favorite, and I love this one. It's bigger. It's got 3 terminals, and when we said Long Beach has 2 terminals, I mean like they're literally both
they're
like
so
right
small.
there. But John Wayne, Santa Ana, whatever you want to call it, has 3 terminals. They are a little more spread out, but it's still like really easy to navigate. The lines do get a little bit longer, but never awful. I've never had it be super awful, except for like during I was traveling the weekend before Thanksgiving coming home, and that was pretty
Okay.
bad, like the Thursday before. But yeah, I like that airport. My favorite thing about that airport is it just feels so quick to get to the Disneyland area, even though it's only like 10 minutes closer than Long Beach as far as driving time. It feels quicker to me. And I don't know if it's because you're on the freeway most of the time or I don't know why, but it does feel quicker to me. Um, and it has a lot more dining options, like you said. The one thing I don't like about that airport, I feel like their luggage drop takes forever. So if you check a
Mm.
bag, I just feel like you're waiting there forever. Um, I don't know. But other than that, it's a great and their lack of Pepsi products. Other than those 2 things, it's a great airport. It's really clean, easy to navigate. So yeah.
Yeah, so those are our top 2 choices. If your preferred airline or route goes into either one, those are no-brainers. Long Beach or Orange County, and those are going to take you about 20 to 30 minutes to get from the airport to Disneyland Resort. And I've done it in so many different times of day, and it's pretty consistent. Even if you're getting traffic, if there's more than one of you, you can hit the carpool lane. I usually hire a ride share, and so it's me and the driver. We hit up that carpool lane, and it's totally fine, very quick. I'd say those are your three most popular options. There's also San Diego. If you're including San Diego in your trip, that's a good choice. They also serve international flights as well. And then we also have Burbank, which is really close to Universal Studios. It is the farthest of the ones we've discussed so far, but it does take you direct via the 5 freeway. Some people are really nervous about driving. So if you're renting a car and you're driving, it's just the same freeway. Now, that doesn't mean that it still won't be confusing because there are places where you're like, oh my gosh, this freeway is merging in and this freeway is leaving. And what do I do? And there's like one lane to get into. But you can do it, guys. I have a brother-in-law who will not drive in LA, period. Every time he has to go out there for business, he hires a driver, and the freeways just make him nervous. But I think growing up, learning on those freeways to drive, I think it's manageable. I think you can do it. Now, would I let my newest driver do it? Not yet. But it's a great skill to have.
Yeah. No, my husband loves driving in California, and we both personally prefer driving in California to driving in the Salt Lake City Valley. So,
Me too.
so there's that. Yeah, those are it. There is also Ontario if you're looking for yet another option. It is also farther away. It's not one of my top picks to fly into for that, but I do like Burbank. I feel like it's also like easier to get in and out of, I mean, and to get down to the Disneyland area than the LAX one. I don't know why. I just feel like it doesn't take the amount of time that it does there, but it is really close to Universal. So there's also the option, like if you want to fly in to one and fly out of the other, you can mix and match there so that you can fly in, do Universal, then go down to the Disneyland area. And again, Carmel Shuttle can help you with your transfer if you don't want to rent a vehicle. But yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about that you do, Jessica, because we currently have nonstops to Burbank. Um, and I'm like, okay, so what's the best way? Renting a car for a whole week is expensive when all we're going to do is drive down and be at a hotel that's right across the street from Disneyland and park that vehicle. So why would I do that? You do something really cool sometimes when you come down. You want to tell everyone what that is?
Yeah, so rental cars are billed in 24-hour increments. So if your flight arrives at 2 p.m. in Burbank and you just need to get down to Anaheim, oh, it's been a long time since I priced out a ride share from there, but oftentimes a 24-hour rental is going to run you cheaper. So you're going to do a one-way rental, which you can do when you're picking up from an airport location, and then you can drop off at a neighborhood location. So those are going to be ones that are right by Disneyland, walking distance right there. So you could drop it off, and you don't have to keep it for 24 hours. You can just drive down there, drop it off early. You'll still be billed that 24 hours, but it makes it super easy. Now, if you need it like the opposite, it's a little bit harder to get a rental car from a neighborhood car rental and drop off at an airport. So there might be a fee involved there, but not from the airport to a neighborhood one. Another thing with car rentals, especially for international visitors, you never need to put any money down or pay for a car rental until you pick it up. So anything that you reserve online for a car rental should be without fee, and you just have that held for you, and then you pay when you pick it up.
Definitely. So Jessica, I know you have an article that covers all the airlines. I have one, and oh my gosh, I don't know why I was so crazy to think that this was a good idea. In mine, I actually went and found every single shuttle and ride service that is allowed at the different airports. Crazy. I
That's
don't know
in depth.
why. So we have both of those, and it's always great to look at both because we both have different experiences flying into each one. And so definitely check those out. We'll link those down in the show notes or in the description if you're watching on YouTube.
Also add that there is a semi-new airline that flies into the Orange County area. That is Breeze Airways, and I have a full review on Breeze as well, and I think it's worth a try if they service a nearby city to you. Thanks for listening, and we will see you at the airport on our way to Disneyland.